Hi, my name's Chris Law. I'm a Member of Parliament who's the chair for the All-Party Group for Tibet, as you can tell by my accent, from Scotland. Today we've just had our All-Party Group here in London at the UK Parliament. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, in fact, I was at the World Conference on Tibet in Tokyo in Japan with the Sikyong Penpa Tsering, who was here today to so many Tibetans and people representing Tibetan organisations. We've had an amazing meeting, not least because it's so important to have the Sikyong here, just to remind us what we're here for, to talk about, first of all, the Tibet issue and its relationship with China, about religious freedoms, about the rights of the Dalai Lama's choice of reincarnation going forward, the protection of Tibetan Buddhism, and also, more importantly, about some of the ongoing issues that we need to be reminded of repeatedly, sadly, because of the relationship with China. Today was well represented with cross-party members of Parliament, and it's our first real meeting since we reconvened after the UK Parliament elections in 2024. Earlier this year we had Losar, slightly delayed, not least because there's lots going on in Parliament, but it was over 100 people in attendance, and today we had over 50 people in attendance, the all-party group. So we have a lot to be doing. We've got an early day motion, and we have a letter to write to the Foreign Secretary. Sikyong has given us lots of energy, enthusiasm, and action plans to get forward with. And this being the Year of Compassion as the 90th birthday for the Dalai Lama comes up in the next 10 days. So just a message from the UK Parliament, really looking forward to taking these actions forward. Wish the Dalai Lama the very healthiest, happiest 90th birthday celebration, and look forward to the year to come when we can take other MPs, including myself obviously, out to North India to meet with the Dalai Lama and to meet with the Tibetan people. Oh goodness, that's a good question. So more than half my lifetime ago, actually, I took the wrong turning, or maybe the right turning, on a motorcycle in North India when I was heading to an area called Kulu Valley. I thought I was heading towards Manali, and I ended up in Dharamsala. And I thought I'd entered another world entirely. And I spent a month there, and I learned a lot about Tibetan culture, history, and of course Tibetan Buddhism and the Dalai Lama. And it's the first time I had the opportunity to see the Dalai Lama, not as a special audience, but an opportunity through one of the prayers where lots of people could come and attend. I've actually heard them subsequently several times in Ladakh and also in New Delhi. And one of the things I always found amazing about the Dalai Lama is not only did he teach lots about Tibetan culture, history and Buddhism, but he also did it with such grace and humour. I never heard audiences laugh so much at a leader speaking, and laughing with him, and it's about our own humility and about our own compassion for each other, reminding ourselves that we're human. So I was drawn in at a very young age, and also a little bit about independence in a way, because when I came back to Scotland, I went on to study social anthropology and Scottish history. And one of the reasons to study Scottish history is simply because what I learned from being in Dharamsala was about its history and how it's been erased. And what I didn't know when I went back to my own country is how little history I actually knew about Scotland. And so through my own study of Scottish history, it really drew me into Scottish politics. So I think for the UK, it has to build cordial relations with all nations. Whether they're friends or whether they're not friends, we have to build good relations. I understand that. With every relationship, there comes relationships of trust, relationships of responsibility, and relationships of reciprocity. If those have been undermined, or there are a threat of being undermined, then we should respond with the same kind of positioning. In other words, if we feel there's a risk to our security, or as a risk to people who live here who may be under, for example, transnational repression, then that needs to be considered. I have real concerns about the Chinese super embassy, not because China shouldn't have an embassy here in the UK. That is fine. What I have an issue about is its location. There are two main issues for me. One is a public security issue, one is a national security issue. What's been raised recently through the protests that have happened outside that embassy, and in the UK you have every right to protest outside any embassy, and quite rightly so, we're a democracy, is actually the streets around it are very narrow. And so from a public security risk, it's a risk for the people who wish to protest. The second issue is a far more serious one, but although that being very serious in itself, one that's been highlighted by the US Security and Intelligence, along with the Dutch, in other words, Netherlands, who have both raised concerns with the UK government and actually oppose opening on its location. Again, I'll be very clear, we have to have relationships, and that's important, and there should be an embassy. However, the location of this one, and given the fact that there's very sensitive data cables underneath any embassy, let it be alone a Chinese embassy, which can tap into national intelligence, can tap into data records of the Bank of England, would be a grave concern to me and for any other MP of this Parliament. Yes. Keep engaging, keep working together, be united in this year of compassion coming ahead. Please make sure you join together in that message of compassion. And also, if you want to see change, you need to be part of that change. Please do it together. Thank you. Thank you very much.